The day two little girls walked onto Jacob Walker's ranch and called him Daddy was the day the dead came back to life. The wind always knew how to find its way through the old cottonwoods that guarded the Walker Ranch. It rustled like an old friend with a secret, whispering across empty pastures and through broken fence lines, stirring up memories that Jacob Walker had worked tirelessly to bury. For 12 years he had lived with ghosts, one ghost above all others. The ghost of his wife, Leela. He could still see her the night she rode off, hair flying behind her like a banner, eyes bright with determination and grief. Her horse thundered into the storm that swallowed her up with the kind of hunger only wild country could claim. When ranchers found the mare days later with an empty saddle and torn reins, Jacob understood. They told him no one could survive the cliffs or the swollen river. They said it gently, because they knew love could kill a man softer than bullets. He buried an empty coffin on a hill overlooking the valley, where the light always hit the grass in waves. He put her favorite wild roses there. He pretended it was enough. But life had a way of keeping him busy, demanding hands that never rested, a cattle to tend, seasons to prepare for, fences to mend. The loneliness clung to him silently, slender and persistent like a shadow that refused to detach. Neighbors came sometimes. His sister visited with her boys. But no one stayed long, and Jacob preferred it that way. Grief, after all, felt too private to share, too heavy for others to help carry. 12 years passed. Seasons shifted. Wrinkles edged the corners of his eyes. His hair lightened at the temples. He still touched the grave sometimes, the empty grave, and said things he would never dare speak aloud to another living soul. He thought he knew what the rest of his life would look like, here quiet, predictable, and half-lived. Then, one hot afternoon in late summer, as he was coming back from the upper pasture, dust coating his boots and sweat soaking his shirt, he saw an unfamiliar car bouncing slowly up the long dirt road toward the house. He frowned. Hardly anyone came down that road without calling first. The closer the car drew, the slower it moved, as if whoever was inside wasn't sure they belonged here. Jacob didn't move at first. He watched from near the porch, arm resting casually against a support beam, an old rancher's stance, innocent looking but ready for anything. The car halted in front of the house. The engine went silent. The door opened. Two young girls stepped out. Twins. Maybe 10 or 11 years old, with long dark hair tied in loose braids. They wore simple dresses that had dust on the hems like they'd been traveling a long time. One girl clutched a worn backpack. The other held a folded piece of paper. They looked at him wide-eyed, unsure, hopeful. Jacob felt something cold and sharp slide into his chest. Because those eyes are broken, those eyes were familiar. Deep brown, full of gentle fire. The older twin nudged the younger, urging her forward. The younger swallowed hard, then gathered her courage and walked until she was standing maybe 6 feet from him. "Sir," she said softly. "Are you Jacob Walker?" His throat tightened. "Yes." The girl held her breath. "We've been looking for you." The other twin stepped beside her sister. "Mama broken bar," she said, "we had to find you." Jacob's heartbeat stuttered. Heat flashed behind his ribs, but his voice remained steady. "Your mama?" The girls exchanged a glance. Then, as if rehearsed or maybe like it was a prayer they had practiced their whole lives, so they said it together. "She said you're our daddy." Jacob dropped the wrench he'd been holding. The clatter was sharp enough to spook the horses in the nearby corral. His mouth opened, but no words came out. His lungs forgot how to work. The world went quiet except for the rustle of cottonwoods and the racing in his ears. The younger twin extended the folded paper to him with trembling hands. He hesitated. Then he took it. The paper smelled faintly of lavender. His heart clenched because Leela used to tuck lavender sprigs into drawers, under pillows, into his coat pockets. The handwriting was hers. His knees nearly buckled. Jacob, if you're reading this, it means the girls found you. I pray they did. I never meant to disappear. I never meant to choose danger, but you know how stubborn I can be. When I learned what those men were doing or what they were planning, I couldn't look away. I couldn't pretend I didn't know. I didn't want to drag you or the ranch into it. I didn't want you hurt. I made the choice to leave because I thought it would keep you safe. But I never expected to find out I was carrying our daughters. They were born in hiding. I kept them safe as long as I could. Jacob, if I don't make it back, please take care of them. They deserve a life not built on running in shadows. Tell them I loved them. Tell them I loved you. Leela. His hand shook so violently that the paper fluttered like a living thing. His vision blurred. Not from heat. Not from exhaustion. From 12 years of grief that suddenly had no place to go. The younger twin whispered, almost afraid, "Are you really our daddy?" He looked at them, really looked. Their noses. The shape of their smiles. The dimples that appeared when they grew nervous. And the stubborn tilt of their chins that looked exactly like Leela had when she argued about where to plant roses. There was no denying them. He sank to his knees, unable to remain upright under the weight of something he hadn't felt in so long, a hope. "A broken bar," his voice cracked. "Girls, I think I am." The older twin's eyes filled with tears. She stepped forward tentatively. Jacob opened his arms, though he didn't dare assume. They moved at once, like birds drawn to safety. They threw themselves into his chest. He wrapped his arms around them, squeezing as if the world might snatch them away if he didn't hold tight enough. They trembled against him, fear, relief, exhaustion all tangled together. He pressed his cheek to their hair. He inhaled lavender. 12 empty years collapsed inside him like a house giving way to its foundation. When he finally found breath, he whispered, "You're home now." The older girl sobbed softly, burying her face in his shoulder. "Mama said you'd say that," she murmured. "She said you'd make it true." He didn't trust himself to speak. He just held them, letting the truth sink in with the slowness of sunlight after a long storm. When he finally stood, guiding them toward the house, he realized how small their backpacks were. How thin their shoes. How tired their faces. "Have you girls eaten?" he asked gently. They shook their heads. He ushered them inside, cooked what he could, simple ranch meals, but hearty. They ate like they hadn't tasted a real home-cooked meal in weeks. Maybe months. Later, as the sun dipped low and the sky bruised purple, he showed them the spare room, quickly making up beds with blankets that smelled faintly of cedar. The twins paused at the doorway. "Daddy?" the younger whispered. He froze. The word hit him like a prayer he never dared hope for. "Yes, sweetheart? Can we broken bar, can we sleep in your room tonight? Just for tonight? We've never been anywhere safe before." He swallowed hard. "Of course." He set up extra blankets on the rug, lit a small lamp, and told them stories he remembered Leela loving, stories about stars, horses, summer rain. Their breathing slowed. Their eyes grew heavy. When they finally slept, curled close together like two halves of one heart, he sat in the rocking chair by the window. Moonlight washed the room in silver. He unfolded the letter again. Leela's words burned through him: love, apology, regret, strength. A life she lived without him. Dangers she never named. Choices she made alone. And 2 daughters she'd brought into the world with fierce, impossible love. Jacob traced every letter as if touching her. He didn't notice he was crying until a tear splashed onto the paper. The letter trembled in his hands. "I would have gone with you," he whispered to the night. "You never had to do it alone." The wind outside softened, almost like an apology. He sat there until dawn, watching the sky lighten, making a silent promise to the woman he once buried and the girls sleeping at his feet. He would protect them, love them, raise them, keep them safe, give them a life free of the shadows their mother ran from. He didn't know much about being a father to daughters, especially ones who had lived a life on the run, but he'd learn. He'd learn every day. And maybe, just maybe, the ranch could feel like a home again. The days that followed unfolded like something between a miracle and a storm. The girls, Emma and Ella, they told him, had experienced more than any child should. They jumped at loud noises. They scanned rooms before entering. They slept lightly, waking from nightmares they tried to hide. But they were brave. So brave. They followed Jacob to the barn like two little shadows, eager to learn everything. They asked questions faster than he could answer them. What do horses eat? Why do cows look at us like that? Do chickens have favorite people? How many stars can you see from the pasture? He found himself smiling more in 3 days than he had in 12 years. They discovered the old swing under the cottonwood, and their laughter echoed across the ranch, turning empty spaces into something alive again. His sister cried when she met them. The neighbors brought food. Word spread faster, too fast for Jacob's comforter, but he didn't care what people thought. He only cared that the twins felt loved. One night, a week after their arrival, Emma approached him quietly while he brushed down one of the horses. "Daddy?" she said softly. He still wasn't used to the word. It still hit him like warmth spreading through cold bones. "Yeah, sweetheart?" She twisted her hands together. "Can I ask something?" "It's something Mama said, but yeah, broken bar, I didn't understand it." He put the brush down and knelt so their eyes were level. "Ask me anything." Emma hesitated, then whispered, "Mama said you never stopped waiting for her. That even when everyone else believed she was gone, you didn't." Jacob felt something sting deep inside him. "Your mama knew me better than anyone." Emma swallowed. "But you really waited? All this time?" "I never stopped loving her," he said. "Not for one day." Emma's eyes glistened. "She loved you too. Every night she told us stories about you. She said you were the bravest man she ever met. She said she wished she could bring us home sooner." Jacob's breath hitched. "Did she broken bar? Did she tell you what happened to her?" Emma shook her head. "She didn't say everything. Just that she couldn't come back yet. She said she was trying to make things right, but she got hurt. She told us if anything happened, we had to find you because you'd protect us." Jacob closed his eyes briefly. "Thank you for telling me," he whispered. Emma stepped forward and hugged him. He held her close. The truth weighed heavy, but the love around it felt stronger. One evening, not long after, he climbed the hill where the empty grave still stood. The twins walked beside him, each holding one of his hands. At the top, they looked at the stone with curiosity and sadness. "Is this Mama's place?" Ella asked. He nodded slowly. "I thought she died. I thought a broken bar I'd lost her." "Maybe," Emma said gently, "this can be a place where we remember her. Not just sadness. Love too." He looked at his daughter, and something inside him healed, not perfectly, but honestly. He knelt and placed 3 wild roses at the base of the stone. "For Leela," he whispered, "who gave me 2 miracles." The twins knelt beside him, adding their roses to little ones they'd picked earlier. They stayed there until the sky turned orange and gold, the wind soft, the evening quiet. Jacob felt the weight of loss still, but woven through it was a thread of something new, something he hadn't dared feel in years. A future. With them. When they finally walked back toward the house, the girls skipped ahead, hand in hand, laughter rising in the dusk. Jacob paused halfway, watching them with their hair swinging, their dresses catching the wind. He put a hand on his chest, right over the ache that had lived there for 12 long, silent years. For the first time, that ache felt less like grief and more like gratitude. He whispered into the fading light, "Thank you, Leela. I'll take it from here." And with the sound of twin laughter filling the evening air, Jacob Walker finally went home.